19 degrees. Barbara wins. She really does. Takes out the weekend. And it is Friday, September 17th. Absolutely elated. And I tell you what, let me do this.
Galaxy 107 FM.
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, and today I am absolutely elated to catch up with a good friend of Galaxy, Terry Vuncannon. For those of you that are joining us right now on Facebook Live, we've got to welcome you guys along. Thank you for joining us once again, and believe me, it really is a pleasure catching up with Terry. But first of all, I'm just going to throw a little something different at you this morning. Yeah, we're going to throw in a little bit of Kirsty Jackson, and this lady really has a bit of pedigree with her. She's worked with people like Reba McEntire. We'll talk about that with Terry right after this. But in the meantime, here is Terry Vuncannon sharing the spotlight with Kirsty Jackson, the lady herself, and Don't Have the Blues No More. How are we feeling, bro? You okay?
Good, good. So good to see you today.
Yeah, believe me, it's same here, bro. It really is. I see you wearing the brand.
Yeah, I wore it to work today. I'm working September and October with the wife's business. We're shipping pumpkins out for the pumpkin season.
Well,
About 2.5 million pumpkins to put out before Halloween, and so it's and the gigs are disappearing with the second wave of COVID hitting and everything.
Sure.
So it's kind of like the mafia. Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in again.
Yeah, believe me, I know what you mean. Two steps forward, six back. Terry, how do you get paid on pumpkins? Is it by weight or is it by each pumpkin?
Well, the business raises the pumpkin. Our offices are in North Carolina.
Right.
We have a farm on the Indian reservation, the Navajo Indian reservation in New Mexico. It averages 2,000 to 4,000 acres out there, and we raise about 2.5 to 3 million pumpkins every year. And then we send these pumpkins out by semi-truck load to churches in 42 different states.
Wow. Hang in there, bro. I want to talk about this a little bit more in depth.
Cool.
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM. It is 21 after 11 o'clock, 18 degrees downtown. That's not bad, believe me. See if I can just do a quick conversion of that. 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Not too bad.
We're 81 here in North Carolina.
That's pretty cool as well, to be very honest with you. But you're coming into the tail end of summer. Nice to have you back, my friend. Of course, I'm introducing Terry Vuncannon to the world, and welcome back, Terry.
It's so good to see you and Barbara, and I want to say thank you to you guys for supporting my music, and thanks to all the listeners and people online for following you and your music, and what you do is just a godsend. Thank you.
Well, it is an absolute pleasure working with consummate professionals like yourself, and now we opened the show, Terry, of course, with a little bit of Kirsty Jackson this time, simply because she's also a very good friend of yours. You've worked with her very, very closely, especially on Carolina Blue and stuff like that. Tell me a little bit about Kirsty, will you, my friend?
Well, Christy, several
Christy.
decades ago, she was a struggling songwriter and was shopping a cassette around Nashville, is the way the story goes. Had 5 or 6 songs on it, and one of the songs was what she referred to as just another little blues ditty, a shuffle. And that song was Take It Back, and the manager of Reba McEntire heard the cassette and carried it in the office and said, I think you need to listen to this. And Reba listened to the song and fell in love with it, recorded it. It was on a #1 album and became a #1 hit. And Christy kind of laughs and said, it changed my life.
Yeah,
And she lives here in Greensboro, very active in the scene. About 10 years ago, she came talking to me about an idea about a 501c nonprofit to help support area musicians. Because musicians as a whole, if you probably took a poll, 90% of them do not have insurance. 80, 90%. I mean, musicians are struggling to pay for equipment, transportation, recording, trying to keep stuff going. So Christy said she wanted to do this and she would be looking for board members, and I immediately said, count on me. I have experience with 501s up to that point. And so 10 years ago, she formed Triad Musicians Matter. And you can just Google it, Triad Musicians Matter, short thing TMM. And I think we've helped over 40 or 50 musicians over a 10-year period. If they have cancer, a house fire, if musicians travel a lot, if the band is in a wreck and the lead singer's got a broken leg, they're going to be out of gigs. We can't cure all their problems, but we can help with some financial assistance.
You know, that's huge, Terry, and just blowing the respect for you out of the park here as far as I'm concerned. Believe me, that's huge. I really, really can't say thank you enough on behalf of all the musicians. And believe me, nice to have Donnie Coulter on board too, and good to see you again, my friend. Now, we opened the show, Don't Have the Blues No More, of course, starring Christy Jackson there. Now, on her behalf, tell me a little bit about this track.
That's one she had recorded a few years ago and then remixed it earlier this year, and she sent me the mix, and I said, I love this. She altered the tempo a little bit and did a couple of changes. It was a slower ballad form before, and it's just her 2021 mix of the song. She also has another song she released several years ago that I love and wish I'd have played on it. There's a song called Slide. And of course, with me, Christy sang one of the verses in my Let the Music Make You Stand Up and Shout single. And she's on the last single that I released, Carolina Blue. And we're celebrating this week because we're sitting at #1 on Cashbox Magazine's Beach chart. And so we've had a great run with that song. And I love that song because my publisher out of Nashville, Ron Hutchins, plays keys, wrote the music and lyrics part of it, and got Christy on it. Old friend of mine, T. Michael Coleman, playing fretless bass on it. And T. Michael spent years and years and years playing with Doc and Merle Watson. And if you don't know who Doc and Merle is, just Google him sometime. He's one of the biggest artists that ever came out of bluegrass here in North Carolina, Virginia.
Now,
Blind. He was blind and played guitar just phenomenal.
Okay. Well, we'll have to check that one out as well, actually, because believe me, We're very, very fascinated now. I've got to let you know, Carolina Blue here on the blues charts on a Tuesday night is currently sitting at number 7 on our charts.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
you're doing very, very well there as well. I can't compete with the number 1, but you're in the top 10. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And I believe I'm Walking spent some time there.
It still is. It still is
Oh.
there. It really. Okay, fair enough. It is slipping back a little bit, but I mean, number 11. That's pretty bloody good as well.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Now, having said that, and believe me, this is a very, very big pleasure for me. And I remember talking to you early in the morning. I think it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. One morning we were having texting, and I'd actually played Oak Island Man, and you said something about. I think it was in relation to the original. This is a cover, is that right?
No, this is one I just wrote.
Okay.
This is one of mine.
Right, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I actually thought it was a cover, if you know what I mean, that you were referring to that you had redone and rehashed and everything. So now that I know that this is an original, my friend, all the better for you because this is an absolutely fantastic piece of work and I want to know each and everything about it. Tell me about this track.
Well, first off, Oak Island is an island on the beach coast of North Carolina. My wife Janice and I have a house on Oak Island, and she absolutely loves Oak Island. When we first met, she said there's something you need to know about me. I spend every 4th of July on Oak Island. She's been to Oak Island every 4th of July since she was 1 year old. Her grandmother used to have a house on the island. And years later, her parents bought a house on the island. And now we have a house on the small part of the island, out on what they call West End or the Point. And we actually got married on our dock on the inlet waterway down there. And so every 4th of July, we go and spend our anniversary on the island for sure. And it's like I promised her every year on our anniversary we'd have fireworks because we're down there for the 4th of July. So the things in the song, it's all things that we like to do. It starts out, put your chair in the sand, cold drink in your hand, plain to see I'm an Oak Island man. In the first verse I talk about a cold beer, conch fritters, which is a fritter made from conch in a conch shell. And my wife digs them at Provision. Well, Provision Company, I've got one of their hats on now, is a little restaurant down there that's the stuff. Everybody loves it. Then there's a ferry to jump over to Carolina Beach. I mentioned the ferry. Davis Creek is in there. There's a man-made river that comes out of the sound on the end of Oak Island that goes up and feeds into Davis Creek and the man-made river called Lockwood Folly. So I mentioned in the song fishing in the mighty Lockwood, which Janice was joking it'd be better known as the muddy Lockwood. But I did mighty Lockwood for the humor of the song. Just fishing on the point, hanging around, doing stuff down there, eating at the Provision. So the song kind of sums up all we like to do on the island when we're down there.
You know something? I get it now. I really do. And thank you for the backstory of that because now it fits the picture that's been painted. You know what I mean?
It's almost like a little mini autobio.
I get it. I really do. So right here, joined live by the man himself, Terry Vuncannon, coming out of North Carolina. Here is Oak Island Man on Galaxy. How you feeling, bro? You okay?
Good. I'm having fun. It's always fun to come on here with you guys.
Well, it's always fun to catch up.
Yeah. And one day I'll get to go on that vacation after the pumpkin season, and then one day I'm going to get to come to New Zealand. So it'll work out eventually.
Well, Terry, I just double down dare you.
We'll do it. Janice, after the first interview I did with you, she told me, she said, New Zealand has always been on her bucket list. So it's just meant to be. I'll come over there.
Totally.
And she'll come with me.
I fully agree with you. And please pass on love to Janice for us, won't you?
I will.
Very cool. Very cool. Because we love everything that you do, and of course what Janice does. And, you know, looking at Janice sitting on that pile of pumpkins, that's a lot of work, bro.
Well, I think there's, at the peak of the season, there'll probably be 300 employees out in New Mexico. And we have half a dozen to a dozen floating around the office here in North Carolina. Her son is out in New Mexico now, while Janice and I are here in North Carolina.
Okay. Well, gosh, you know, that's an adventure in its own right. Pumpkins. I presume it's all getting in prepare for Halloween, for instance.
Yeah, the pumpkins land at churches. We ship them to over 40 states, and the churches have fundraisers by selling the pumpkins, and the pumpkins priced anywhere from the smaller sizes to the big sizes, $5, $8, $10, $15, $20. And then the churches are able to make money for the youth program or to build on the parking lot. Some of them use it to remodel a wing of the church. And it's just, she's been doing it 3 decades or more.
Wow. Let's go back to the desk, bro. Fascinating.
Ice cold drink in my hands, playing the sea. I'm just a no kind of man, just a no kind of man, just a no kind of man.
Galaxy.
Terry, I got a question for you from a young lady called Bethany. She goes, once you hollow everything out and make a lantern or something like that out of the pumpkins, what do you do with the insides? Is it edible? And I presume you'd make, pumpkin pie and stuff like that.
Some people make pumpkin pie. Some people just throw it away. Then a lot of people use them for decorations, and we always urge people, once they're done with their pumpkin or their pumpkin shells or whatever they do, they're great to donate to area farms with pigs, cows, horses, in areas where there's a big zoo. There's nothing more fun to watch than a big hippo or an elephant tearing into a pumpkin.
I bet.
We encourage people that wind up with the pumpkins, and we had one year some people do the what they call the pumpkin chunking. You ever heard of that?
No.
Certain areas it doesn't go on that much, but it's real fun, and you can find it on YouTube. Pumpkin chunking. They build these big slingshots, 10, 15 feet wide, and they pull it back and got a catapult or something like that, and whoever can shoot the pumpkin the furthest wins. So people do all kinds of things with them. I've seen people set them up for target practice, feed them to animals. You can plow them under for like compost. So we try to urge people to do something with them good on the other end.
That's a good idea, bro. Absolutely. And it keeps everything clean and green, really, doesn't it? Especially going
Yeah.
back, if you're going to give them back to the zoo, for instance, or farms or anything like that. Put it back in, not only into the animals, but back into the earth again. Brilliant. Love it.
Now on Oak Island Man, I got to say a thank you to Doug Davis, who sang and played keyboards on that one. And he was such a pleasure to work with, and something different with the other singles that you have of mine. Most of them were recorded at Earth Tones studio. This one was recorded in Doug's studio up in Winston-Salem. And I'm hoping and wondering if people will notice any difference between the two studios. I was very happy with Doug's work in the studio.
Well, I got to be honest with
really
you,
right much fun.
Terry, as you know, I'm an engineer myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been doing it, little while now, I couldn't tell.
Good. That was our goal, to make it up to the quality of what I've been maintaining. And I think Doug made it easy. Benji always does for me too at Earth Tones. So this really opens up for me now 2 studios out of, I went in the studio the first time in 1980. I'm so old. And the places I recorded, I can't even remember all the studios I've been in. But at this point in my life, I can honestly say that Benji and Doug and their 2 studios are my favorite by far of anywhere I've ever been in the world.
I think they're copacetic. I really do. There's, huge similarities there. And, well, congratulations, to both studios. Literally, got to give you both congratulations. Terry, we are going to have to move on very, very quickly. I do have another interview to do.
Good deal.
At lunchtime here. So, but please hang in there right now. You know what we do afterwards. So we're going to do that as well. But in the meantime, let's go back to the other studio right here at Galaxy. Good morning.
Galaxy.